Do you still think the real California wealth flows in Malibu or Beverly Hills? Well, it's 2026, and the billionaires of California have decided to move past these cities to hang around in the places you've never heard of. 10 locations. One zip code where $3 million makes you the poorest person on the block. Let's find out where California's elites are actually hiding. Number 10. Atherton. The poorest resident here has $3 million. Malibu is the story California tells tourists, but Atherton is the story California tells itself when nobody's watching. 45 minutes south of San Francisco, tucked into the Bay Area like a secret the rest of the country hasn't cracked yet. This town of just over 7,000 residents has held the title of America's most expensive zip code for 8 consecutive years. And the numbers are so absurd, they almost stop feeling real. The cheapest home sold in 2025 went for $3 million. Not a mansion or a compound, but a starter home, by Atherton standards. The most expensive hit $51.5 million, which, in local conversation, is considered reasonably priced. Let that recalibrate your understanding of what expensive means for a moment. Steph Curry lives here, and the reason is almost poetic. It's the only neighborhood in America where his $200 million NBA contract makes him genuinely middle class. Eric Schmidt's 3-acre Walsh estate recently hit the market at $24.5 million, featuring 5 structures and 11 bathrooms, because apparently even Google money requires backup bathrooms for the backup bathrooms. Marc Andreessen sold his compound for $27.2 million after spending nearly 18 months convincing the market it was worth it. Here's the detail that perfectly captures the Atherton spirit. In 2023, Andreessen and Curry, 2 men who have built entire careers on the promise of disrupting everything, became passionate defenders of local zoning laws when multi-family housing development threatened their property values. Tech disruptors suddenly discovering the beauty of the status quo. The irony essentially wrote itself. Properties average 1 to 3 acres because regular-sized lots are, apparently, a concept for regular people. Guest houses here are larger than most family homes. Pool maintenance costs more than most salaries. And the local police spend more time managing private security convoys than addressing actual crime, which tells you everything about what kind of neighborhood this is and who it was built for. And while Atherton has set the floor, the next entry sets a completely different kind of standard, where the whole town is the gate. Number 9. Ross. The town, where the entire zip code is a gated community. Ross, Marin County, is just north of San Francisco with a population of 2,338. But here's the kicker. The median household income here is $250,000, which makes you the working class. And if you've never heard of it, that's entirely by design, because this town has achieved the kind of obscurity that only extreme wealth can manufacture, and it wears that invisibility like a luxury item. There is no commercial development within town limits, not a single strip mall, chain restaurant, or retail store of any kind. Residents who need anything beyond artisanal coffee have to drive into the real world, which they do in vehicles that could fund small infrastructure projects. It sounds like an inconvenience. For the people who live here, it is actually the whole point. No commerce means no foot traffic. No foot traffic means no outsiders. No outsiders means exactly the kind of privacy you pay $2 million minimum to access. Phoenix Lake Reservoir sits inside the town's rolling hills, offering hiking and recreation that feels genuinely pastoral. Assuming you can clear the financial barrier of entry disguised as a home purchase. 82% of residents hold bachelor's degrees or higher. The community attracts venture capitalists who publicly want their children to grow up normal, and privately enroll those children in private schools that cost more than most people's annual salaries. The commute to San Francisco is 18 miles, just enough time to rehearse the "I'm not like other millionaires" speech for dinner. The architectural styles run from Victorian to contemporary, and they share exactly one characteristic. They are all designed to communicate, before you've even parked, that you are somewhere you weren't necessarily expected to be. Old California charm. New California prices. The entire state's economic model, compressed into 2,338 people and 0 strip malls. Next up, we have a place which doesn't hide at all, because one man just bought the whole neighborhood. Number 8. Palo Alto's Crescent Park, a neighborhood bought by Mark Zuckerberg. The New York Times reported that Mark Zuckerberg has spent over $110 million acquiring at least 11 properties in and around Crescent Park since 2011. His standard approach is to offer double or triple market value, with some bids reaching $14.5 million for properties appraised at significantly less. When you have Facebook money, overpaying is just another form of flexing, and the neighborhood has been absorbing that flex for over a decade. 5 homes have been merged into his primary estate, which now features guest accommodations, gardens, a pickleball court, and, the detail that gets its own sentence, 7,000 square feet of underground space that neighbors refer to simply as the bunkers. Because nothing says I'm a normal, relatable tech founder like subterranean facilities that would make Cold War-era generals feel at home. Other acquired properties serve rotating functions: entertainment venue, outdoor gathering space, and, most controversially, an unpermitted private school for 14 children because apparently standard elite private schools aren't exclusive enough when your net worth has 10 figures. A 7-foot silver statue of his wife Priscilla Chan stands on the grounds, which is either a profound gesture of love or an extremely specific reminder to the neighbors of who they live next to. Possibly both. 8 years of constant construction, blocked driveways, debris, heightened surveillance. What was once described as an idyllic Palo Alto neighborhood has been functionally transformed into a tech mogul's private campus, and the people who live adjacent to it have watched their property values rise and their quality of life complicate in roughly equal measure. Crescent Park still attracts attorneys, Stanford academics, and corporate leaders willing to pay serious premiums for proximity to Silicon Valley's gravitational center. They just didn't expect the center to have bunkers. One man's real estate strategy rewrote an entire neighborhood, but our next location rewrites who counts as famous. Number 7. Los Altos. Residence of Sergey Brin and Jensen Huang. Los Altos flies under the radar compared to many other places in this list, which says a lot about how private it is. Situated between San Jose and Palo Alto, this Silicon Valley town has cultivated an invisibility that its residents treat as the most valuable amenity on the listing. Google co-founder Sergey Brin lives here. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang lives here. You wouldn't know it by looking, which is the whole point. The 94024 zip code is tied for 9th most expensive in America, a ranking that understates the actual density of wealth concentrated in those rolling hills. Los Altos Hills, the adjacent community, pushes the scale further with larger estates and valley views that justify prices no reasonable person should be paying for a view. The difference between this and Atherton is tone. Los Altos wants to blend in. It wants walkable cafes, a legible downtown, the appearance of a normal California town. It is performing normalcy with a real estate portfolio that would make most financial advisors need to sit down. The people who choose Los Altos over Atherton are making a specific statement. They want low profile, not no profile. They want a $5 million house that could, on a generous afternoon, be mistaken for a $3 million house. They want neighbors who are also worth hundreds of millions and who are, crucially, equally committed to the mutual agreement of not acknowledging it. This is Silicon Valley's version of old money. Wealth that has been around long enough to stop apologizing for the industries it disrupted on the way here. Blend in enough to seem normal. Stay rich enough to ensure the zip code does the rest of the work. Los Altos stays invisible. Newport Coast makes sure you can see it from the water. Number 6. Newport Coast, where spending $10 million on a beach house is considered conservative. Orange County's coastal crown jewel operates on a different frequency from the Bay Area entries above it. Newport Coast isn't interested in subtlety. It has panoramic Pacific Ocean views perched on coastal bluffs, and it has decided collectively that those views are worth whatever number makes other people uncomfortable. All 6 of its zip codes made the nation's top 100 most expensive list, and the 92661 zip code jumped from 6th to 4th nationally after a 20% year-over-year price increase, because apparently standard California inflation wasn't dramatic enough. Properties average 6,700 square feet, nearly 4 times the national average. The entry point at Balboa Island starts around $4.5 million, which the locals would describe as the affordable end of the market with a completely straight face. Cliffside estates in Crystal Cove and Corona del Mar regularly exceed $10 million, and the lifestyle attached to them includes yacht clubs where the membership fee costs more than most people's homes and private beaches that operate with more exclusivity than most countries' borders. The infinity pools cost more to maintain annually than most people earn. The wine cellars hold collections worth more than most retirement funds. The outdoor kitchens are better equipped than most restaurants. Fashion Island shopping is a short drive away, where a casual afternoon can burn through a luxury car's worth of purchases before lunch. Newport Coast attracts business executives, entertainment industry figures, and professional athletes who want coastal California living with weather that justifies every dollar of the real estate premium. It's Orange County's premier address, which is saying something in a county where even the strip malls have valet parking. Newport Coast is loud about its money. Our next town is comparatively quieter unless you count the helicopters. Number 5. Montecito. 23,000 square foot mansions. 80 miles northwest of Los Angeles, tucked into Santa Barbara County with the Pacific on one side and the Santa Ynez Mountains on the other, Montecito has spent the last decade quietly becoming the preferred hideaway of people who want privacy, and also, occasionally, a very curated Instagram presence. These two goals are in some tension with each other. Montecito's residents appear unbothered by the contradiction. Oprah's primary estate features a 23,000 square foot neo-Georgian mansion on 70 acres, which is approximately the square footage of a mid-size hotel, repurposed as a single-family residence. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle paid $14.7 million for a Mediterranean estate with 9 bedrooms and 16 bathrooms, more bathrooms than most commercial hotels, in a home occupied by a family of 4. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi have bought and sold multiple Montecito estates, approaching local real estate the way most people approach furniture shopping, which makes more sense when you consider the budgets involved. Ariana Grande was married at her Tudor-style property, built from 17th-century English barns that were shipped across an ocean and reassembled in Santa Barbara County. Because authenticity apparently requires transatlantic logistics. Rob Lowe, a long-term Montecito resident, noted that Harry and Meghan significantly elevated outside interest in the neighborhood, which, coming from someone who has monetized his own celebrity continuously since the 1980s, is a statement worth examining for layers. Properties typically sit on 2 to 10 acres, with mature landscaping that provides what real estate agents call natural privacy, and what everyone else would call a wall of trees. The draw is simple. Far enough from Los Angeles to escape the paparazzi, close enough for a private jet commute to award shows where one can discuss income inequality before flying home. Next up, we have a town with the ocean, and the price tag to match. Number 4. Pacific Palisades. $50 million family-friendly compounds. Between Santa Monica and Malibu, Pacific Palisades has quietly established itself as the neighborhood where A-list celebrities go to raise children they describe as grounded, in houses that cost more than most people will earn across their entire working lives. The logic makes sense internally. Externally, it requires some interpretive charity. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson anchor the neighborhood at the $45 million level, which is the kind of anchor that tells you immediately what kind of neighborhood you're in. Ben Affleck purchased here for $19 million in 2018 post-divorce, which in Hollywood is categorized as downsizing. Arnold Schwarzenegger's 2.5-acre gated estate features equestrian facilities with horse jump fields, because even retirement requires infrastructure when you're the Terminator. Adam Levine and Behati Prinsloo sold their compound for $51 million, representing roughly $20 million in appreciation over their holding period. The property has passed through hands that include Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, and before them, 1940s actor Gregory Peck. In Pacific Palisades, this kind of Hollywood lineage is factored into the price. You're not just buying a house, you're buying a position in a story that started before you were born. The January 2025 wildfires devastated portions of the neighborhood, but many estates survived, partly because homes at this price point tend to have fire suppression systems that outperform most municipal infrastructure. What remains is a community that offers something genuinely rare in Los Angeles. A neighborhood identity that persists across generations of celebrity residents, where kids grow up with private chefs and security details and are told earnestly that this is normal. Next up, we have a place that needs no introduction. Number 3. Bel-Air. Massive mansions with underground bunkers. West of Beverly Hills, separated from it by enough geography to maintain plausible deniability about the comparison, Bel-Air operates as the place where ultra-wealthy Angelenos go when they want to be obscenely rich without the inconvenience of other people noticing. Beverly Hills has tourists. Beverly Hills has bus tours. Beverly Hills has street performers outside the hotels. But Bel-Air has winding roads, gated properties, and security infrastructure that makes the concept of a bus tour feel like science fiction. Beyoncé and Jay-Z's $88 million mansion features bulletproof windows, because apparently wealth at a certain level comes with security requirements that most military bases would recognize. Jennifer Lopez, Elon Musk, Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, and Nicolas Cage have all maintained Bel-Air addresses, creating a residential roster whose combined net worth probably clears the GDP of a mid-sized country. The neighborhood's history reaches back to Elizabeth Taylor, Alfred Hitchcock, and Cary Grant, the generation that established Bel-Air's identity as the place where serious money goes to avoid other serious money. That identity has held. Properties span 2 to 5 acres, most featuring multiple structures, underground parking for 20-plus vehicles, and private elevators, because stairs are a concept that stops making sense above a certain income threshold. The architectural range runs from 1920s Spanish colonial revival to contemporary glass and steel modernism. But the styles share a consistent subtext. This space was not designed for you to feel comfortable in unless you were specifically invited. Bel-Air doesn't want your attention. It has never wanted your attention. The fact that you know it exists is already more than it intended to give you. And now, we head to a neighborhood where over $100 million gets you just one house. Number 2. Paradise Cove, where $100 million is the entry point for the serious conversation. Real estate agents have nicknamed this stretch of Malibu coastline Billionaires Bluff, and even they seem faintly embarrassed by the accuracy of the label. Since 2020, 3 homes here have sold for over $100 million, representing 1/3 of all transactions at that price point in the entire Los Angeles market. This is not a housing market. It is a financial instrument that happens to have ocean views. Beyoncé and Jay-Z hold the California record with a $200 million purchase of a 40,000 square foot mansion on 6 acres, $5,000 per square foot, a number that makes Manhattan penthouses look like they're priced with restraint. Marc Andreessen has invested $255 million across multiple Paradise Cove properties, which is more than most developed countries spend on annual infrastructure, deployed here into a collection of beach houses in case the primary beach house has sand in it. WhatsApp co-founder Jan Koum owns $187 million in Malibu property. Ironic, given that his most famous creation is an app that requires nothing more than a smartphone and a Wi-Fi connection to use. Media mogul Byron Allen purchased his estate here for $100 million, the most expensive home ever purchased by a Black American, a record that underscores both how significant the achievement is and how staggering the price point has become. Leonardo DiCaprio is currently constructing on a $23 million parcel he acquired here, reportedly as part of his environmental commitment, which involves building an extremely expensive beachfront compound as a base of operations for climate advocacy. The appeal is straightforward: the ultimate California coastal lifestyle, reserved for people who consider the regular California coastal lifestyle insufficiently exclusive. Paradise Cove sells the ocean view, but our number 1 entry sells something more expensive: the right to never explain yourself to anyone. Number 1. Holmby Hills, the third point of LA's luxury triangle. While Malibu gets the press and Bel-Air gets the mystique, Holmby Hills gets the residents who have outgrown both. This is the third point of Los Angeles' luxury triangle, the least discussed and the most exclusive. In no small part because it has not yet been overrun by the tourism economy that has turned Beverly Hills into a destination for people who can't afford to live there. The Playboy Mansion sold for $100 million in 2016, and the transaction served as a kind of baseline announcement for what Holmby Hills has become. Kylie Jenner owns a sprawling estate here, which suggests either that the neighborhood's exclusivity standards are evolving, or that the definition of famous for being famous now comes with a 9-figure real estate portfolio. Magic Johnson lives here, representing the specific category of former athlete who understood early that the money you make playing is the seed capital for everything that actually matters afterward. A recent listing featured an unfinished castle. 33,652 square feet, 1.2 acres, 11 bedrooms, 27 bathrooms. 27. The arithmetic on that is genuinely difficult to rationalize, but rationalization is not really the point of Holmby Hills real estate. The point is the statement. Properties border the Los Angeles Country Club, where membership fees outpace most mortgages. Many estates feature 35-seat private theaters, because watching a film with fewer than 36 people apparently lacks atmosphere at this income level. What separates Holmby Hills from everything below it on this list is the particular quality of its discretion. Tour buses don't attempt Holmby Hills routes because the security doesn't just wave people off. It has actual authority to make the visit inconvenient in lasting ways. The entertainment industry executives who live here want maximum privacy and minimum commute to the studios, and they've found both in a neighborhood so resolutely private that it barely acknowledges its own existence in public conversation. California's real wealth never needed Malibu. It built its own neighborhoods with better gates, better views, and a collective agreement to keep the zip codes as quiet as possible. These 10 locations are where the serious money actually lives, hidden in plain sight, protected by property values most people can't conceptualize, and completely indifferent to whether anyone outside the gate ever figures it out. And with that note, we wrap up this video about the wealthiest places in California acting as sanctuaries for the billionaires. Which of these neighborhoods impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments, and for more such interesting peeks into the lives of rich, take a look at Global Status.